Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. How blessed we are to be together in the light of divine being, in this precious gift of light circles, this light training, as Jesus calls it, light, to focus on infinite light. Yeah, he's been talking to me a lot lately about how much we tolerate, or I tolerate, pain and other sensations, and that we don't have to at all, because we're divine beings, we're infinite light. That sounds really good. So as we start lesson 226, my home awaits me, I will hasten there, the hastening home. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, are we welcomed home anytime, every time? In infinite light, is there a door that says, don't come in, that we can find? That it's difficult or hard to come home? Is there a door there? It's good to ask that, really, and see in the light of divine being, is there any door? Does the light say, nope, not you? We know whose voice that is. It says, not you. And to settle for nothing less than light is our only function here. To walk into heaven together, because we can't be apart from light. And how precious it is to go together, you and I, all of us, and how we can't possibly be supremely happy without all of us together in light, joined always in light. If I so choose, what a great start. If I so choose, I can depart this world entirely. Jesus, I'm willing to choose it. Departation. No sitting in the deportation lounge. No more waiting to go. I can depart. I love that sentence. It's worth reading twice. I'll remind. In the light of divine being, an infinite being that's here. If we so choose, if I so choose, I can depart this world entirely. Is that true in the light of divine being? I'm willing to see that truth. It says it's a mere expression of divine power that's already here, Jesus says. Therefore, let this be so. It is not death which makes this possible, but is a change of mind about the purpose of the world. Jesus, show me anything below my level of awareness that death makes leaving the world possible. That anything other than my choice to leave the world is possible. To know this fully in my heart, it's merely a choice to leave the world. It's not through death of a body. Does the body in the divine light of being, does the body have anything to do with the choice to leave the world in honesty of God? Can the light find a way to leave the world through a body? Does it see the body as a means to leave the world? Is acceptance of life the means to leave the world in honesty of God? You can hear how heaven, I can actually breathe easy. if I believe it has value as I see it now, so it will still remain for me. Okay, Jesus, show me any beliefs that the world has any value whatsoever. This will hold bind me to it. Therefore, I'm willing to see. That only infinite love has the true value, infinite light. But if I see no value in the world as I behold it, nothing that I want to keep as mine or search for as a goal, it will depart. That feels like a good goodbye wave. Thank you. It's always such a good reminder of the choice. If I believe it has a value as I see it now, so will it still remain for me. But if I see no value in the world as I behold it, nothing I want to keep as mine or search for it as a goal. No searching. Desire, is there any desire for experience of searching or adding value, feeling that the world has some value to light? Light of divine being, does the world have any value to light? Other than to pointer to what is, to what's whole, an expression of whole divinity, purpose for this purpose to serve God. It will depart. For I have not sought for illusions to replace the truth, Jesus. I'm willing to see where I have sought for illusions to replace perfect peace and truth. He says, seek these things no more, and peace is always yours. He says, pain is merely but seeking. And so you seek it, so you will find it. Cease to seek, and it can't be. It keeps reminding me about tolerance, what I'm tolerating. If I'm tolerating pain or tolerating anything other than peace, it's tolerating it. Tolerating and in the means of not stepping into divine power because it's not of God. And if it's tolerated, then it's an appearance that will continue to appear. Do we have power as divine beings to cease to tolerate appearances and form? To define ourselves in the light of divine being and honesty of God? Is it within our divine power to ask for help and that it is given instantaneously, that there's no waiting for the help of God? No waiting to wait and see that the help of God is here. Infinite love is here. Supreme happiness is here. There's only our decision to wait for supreme happiness. That's really deep. That it's something that we wait for. Any desire below my level of awareness to wait for supreme happiness to be anything other than this moment. He's reminding me about the belief in usurping the power of God. how we desire the experience to usurp the power of God. I'm willing to see that as untrue. Is it possible to usurp the power of God, even if we want to? He says that's really helpful to see through that desire, that interest. The interest in usurping the power of God. As divine beings, do we know anything about that? Can we usurp the power of God? He's saying, see as the light of divine being, that you can't even know what that is to usurp the power of God. It's not even possible. It has to be the play in a dream, the desire for a dream. He says, yet when we toil and experience pain, that is our desire for experience to usurp the power of God. It's even when we know we can't do it. I like to see the full insanity of that, to be absolutely clear. So there's no mistaking that choice. No tolerance for the choice of pain or suffering. Show me any place else where I'm tolerant of that. He says, whenever you're not following me, you're being tolerant of it. It always goes back to the voice for God. He says, if you're not following me, you will feel pain. The ego makes it like if we follow Jesus, that we'll feel pain. It starts to get really acute because it's so spacious and infinite following the light, because the light is divine expression. And so when you don't follow it, we really do start feeling how tight that shoebox is we're trying to stuff ourselves in. It's the desire, it's that attraction to guilt. I want it. It's actually, he keeps telling me must be the lesson, because I'm just getting the tolerance lesson in spades. Like, it's tolerated. No place to go but light. It's tolerating delusions, making it okay. Like there's certain places where it's tolerated in the mind. Okay, give them to me. You see, that's the only way to see where it's being tolerated, like tolerance. As he says, you have a certain tolerance for pain, but can't bury it totally. And those all have to be seen so that they're no longer tolerated. No longer. He's reminding me, okay, there's so much love in this. It's true use of denial. Deny these things have no reality. Say, no, I don't have to. Not to deny the denial. So it's admitting that we're denying it. It's the admission that, yes, I'm denying divine power. And then denying that I have to deny it, that it's real. That's true use of denial, he's saying. And I can see, like, if I'm not listening to him all the time, I'm not happy. Like, if I'm not having that on-set conversation, like asking him everything, it's like, oh my gosh. The kerfuffling is like immediate. There is only, and how much guess I'm getting the contrast. I mean, when I really listen and follow them, like so clearly, boom, boom, boom. And now it's becoming so painful not to hear that voice. He said that's what's truly helpful when you see that dependency on God is all there is. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, is dependency on God all there is? Is it perfect happiness, full dependency on God? That's helpful to be reminded. Yes, yeah. I asked him, I said this last night, I was asking him, the topic of angels came up. And I asked him, can you call in angels? He says, yes. Calling me, calling angels, calling God. They're all worthy. We're all worthy of it. All the help that heaven can provide so that we step aside from the idea that we have of ourselves, that any sensation can define us. Father, my home awaits my glad return. In the light of divine being, does my home await my glad return? And hear the answer. So much love. Jesus says, don't avoid love. It's for what you are. That's helpful. A reminder. And see in the light that love is benevolent. Does this light, infinite light, want only the best for us? Does it want only joy for us in our direct experience as light beings? Your arms are open and I hear your voice. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, are God's arms always open for us? That's enough to take you to your knees, really. That knowing. Seeing the receptivity of light. That's why Jesus said God's teachers are open, because they reflect the receptivity of the infinite light, the openness to all that is. We start seeing why everything he describes about teachers are necessary, because they reflect the light's openness. What need have I to linger in a place of vain desires and of shattered dreams when heaven can be so easily mine? In the light of divine being and honesty of God, can we find one reason to linger in a place of vain desires? Jesus, will you help us remember? He says, yes. When lingering in vain desires, lingering in a world that does not exist, when we have a desire to be in the world and of the world, rather in the world and not of the world. Whenever you take it to be true, he says you'll be in it. Of shattered dreams, the desire to have dreams and shattered dreams. Willing to see that desire. He says dreams only exist by your desire for them. The desire to experience dreams, the desire to experience shattering of dreams. Okay, I'm on that. Get this over. Oh, wow. He says that you want to keep pain, it's a shattered dream you're keeping. The desire to keep shattered dreams. Over divine light. We can ask the light this, everyone can hear this. Is pain the desire to keep a shattered dream? Even though we know it does not exist in the light of divine being. That little fiefdom, the nothingness fiefdom that we want to keep. When heaven can so easily be mine in the light of divine being, how easily is heaven ours? It's that whole idea of work, isn't it? That whole desire to work for heaven creeps up. Jesus says yes. Desire to earn heaven. That's why he gives us a job, to earn heaven, forgiveness. To replace all the other means by which we might try to find heaven. All our other jobs. So we'll drop all our other jobs and take this job, this function. Since this function ends all other functions, a function of forgiveness. So do we have to forgive everything? He said, you have to see that everything's not true and be willing to accept that. Actually, that's the simplicity of it. And following this voice, because this voice is going to bypass any extra little forgiveness lessons we want to take to put ourselves on a timeline. That's why he's choosing the miracles for us, since he has that broader view of what miracles are most helpful. Yeah, he's reminding me, unhappiness is the signal that you're not listening to me. The slightest unhappiness is a signal you're not listening to me. For my will is for your perfect happiness. Your will is for your perfect happiness. In the light of divine being, is our will a perfect happiness? Does our free will given by the Father include, he's been giving me a lot of lessons on free will, how free will can be used to usurp the power of God, try to. That even if we want free will to be so in the way that we want it, does it change that our will is the same as the Father's? Can we have a free will, quote unquote, that's separate from the Father? Free will is the freedom to create as the Father creates in truth. It's the will in alignment with the Father. That's freedom. Is all freedom having free will that's in alignment with the creativity that's like the Father, true creativity in the light of divine being? Is all happiness creating like the Father in the light of divine being? We can never be happy unless we create like the Father. Since we're an expression of Him, extension is divine expression, true creation. Heaven is true creation, beyond heaven actually, because heaven becomes so conceptual in the mind. Heaven is identity and beyond, true identity. Creating like the Father. Unless we're willing to show Jesus, let Jesus show us what true creation is, we're going to be really unhappy little beings. Because we're so used, so he's reminding me about creating through a body. So used to creating through a body. With an idea, it becomes a conceptual miscreation. It supports the miscreation. He says, you must see what's beyond a body. And see what creation is beyond a body. So I'm willing to learn that. That's where all true happiness is, in true creation, the same creation that the Father creates in the light. Creations of light. You're a light creation, he says. You're a light creation. And light can only create like itself. In the light of divine being, does light only create like itself? It doesn't know anything about creating anything other than light. Thank you, Jesus, for showing this today. That my home awaits me. Will hasten there. Amen.